Good afternoon, good evening, and good night. Tis I, your brown skin candy girl. Welcome to the Indulgence Hour. We are here to help all of our good people to usher themselves into a whole new mindset on tonight. We're going to do something a little bit different today, y'all. We're not going to do too many relationships or sexual things tonight. We're going to have to take it on a serious note. Is that all right? We're going to have several of my people in the wake of so many political, socioeconomic, and racial tensions in this country. We are going to be focusing on some serious heavy hitters. So in order to talk about the heavy hitters, I had to bring in my heavy hitters. So starting to my, I got to look because I'm looking at y'all. Here I go. Okay, my right, we have Cliffon Howell. Are you still adjunct professor? Um, Mediator, moderator, administrative extraordinaire, and from my alma mater. Clifford, tell the people about yourself a little something.
Proud to be here. Hey, I mean, you said it all. I'm not one to really big up myself. I'm just a regular guy. I'm just your average Joe. But I will tell you, I will warn you that CHNN that comes from my blog talk radio show, The Brown Eye Perspective.
There you go.
If you know how I get down, you know how I get down. Hey,
there you go.
Hey, I know what I'm talking about. I might be humble. I'm humble right now.
Yeah. But you ain't too humble with that KA side going across your chest.
Hey, I'm not representing nothing tonight but CHNN.
Okay, all right. We're gonna leave it at that. All right. And then we got down below, right below, and we got my brother from another mother, my boy Juan Franklin. What's up, Juan Franklin? Juan is an educator. Juan is a dad. Juan is a strong, powerful, wonderful, educated, intelligent black man that I've known for a whole lot of years. We ain't gonna put them numbers out there because we ain't want to put nobody's business in the street. But Juan, tell the people a little bit about yourself. Introduce yourself.
Same, just a regular brother out here trying to make things happen and do the right thing, stay positive. From the Northeast, but down south now, out here in these Atlanta streets and loving life.
Yeah, we gotta come and get in them streets with you.
Hey, all are welcome.
Paint the town a color. I ain't gonna say which color we gonna do it.
All are welcome.
And last but certainly not least, my friend for many years, hardworking man, hustler, overall good father, husband, all kinds of wonderful things going on. We got my boy BJ in the house. What's up, BJ?
I'm gonna let you give that same introduction at my funeral. That was love there. I appreciate that. I ain't that special. I'm not that special.
Get out of here. We had to add another one to the group. Oh my goodness. What's up, sir? How are you? We have Muhammad Bilal in the building. This guy.
What's up, everyone?
Okay.
How you doing?
I'm going to big up you just a little bit like I do my other boys. Muhammad is educated. He is powerful. He has multiple degrees. Is going for another one. A wonderful father, husband. I mean, this guy is all around good person, well-rounded person, have a good head on his shoulders, and he can debate. So we're gonna see what Muhammad got to say about things today. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing well. How's everybody?
Everybody good,
man.
Good, brother. Good. How you doing?
Good, brother.
I'm doing good. Nice to meet you all.
All right. So we're here. My co-host is on the way, but she's not here yet. She'll be here shortly. But in the meantime, in between time, tonight we are talking about the social break, right? That we have going on right now in the wake of the DNC that just finished. The GOP that's finishing tonight, I believe tonight is the last night. Your crazy administration that's governing this country. And then we have all of the violence and recent things that has happened and that's been going on. So where do I want to start? First of all, let's see. Juan, tell me, what did you think about the DNC? Did you watch it?
Not all of it. I caught a little bit.
Hey, go my girl, Tracy. Sorry, guys. Let me introduce my co-host, Tracy Felder. Hey, girl.
Hello.
We were just doing our intros and just about to jump right into it. We have, just so you know, everybody, we have Cliff right here to my right. We got BJ right next to Cliff. Below BJ is my boy Juan, and next to Juan is my boy Muhammad. And they are all educated, wonderful, and ladies, if you can't see them, eye candy for days. All kinds of chocolate candy. And you know, chocolate's good for the heart. I'm just saying. You know, I didn't realize I did all this with all the wonderful chocolate men's, but yeah, wait, I'm sorry, just a little juicy. I'm sorry, y'all. I go back. Well, I digress. Let's go back. Juan, back to my original question. Did you watch
I've seen a little bit of it, but not that much. Here lately, for me anyway, I've been concentrating more on local government than I have federal, just with everything that's been going on in the last years, and just seeing that we got to start at the bottom, in my opinion, and paying attention to the people that we elect that elect them.
True.
We definitely got to start looking at the ones that are our representatives and our senators that are right there above us, and the ones that we can touch and get hold of, because they the ones that put the man in office. I mean, in my opinion, whatever is going to happen this year is already done, because they got elected in 2018 and 4 years before that. So we'll just see how it play out, but we got to pay attention to that local.
So then I'm gonna just open it up to the panel then. I know Cliff is chomping at the bit, like he's trying to keep it together, but my boy is so educated and so well-rounded and so enthralled in all of this. What was your take on the DNC?
Well, I thought for me, I look at the political conventions a little different. I look at the political conventions, and by the time they get to the conventions, I've already done my research. You know, I already know and understand the backdrop and the background on the folks. I'm looking for policy, and I'm looking to see what the tenor and the temperature is. And for me, when the DNC rolled around, I was comparing it against the Republicans and their agenda, and Donald Trump's Republican Party and their agenda. And I gotta be honest, for me, the bar did not have to be super high, because I understood what was at stake. You know, I'm looking at white supremacists in the White House.
Indeed.
And when I juxtapose white supremacists in the White House against everything else, you could damn near bring me a bologna sandwich.
See what I'm saying?
Now, granted, you can't bring me something toxic at the same time, but it's about political capital. And when I looked at the DNC, I needed to see if there were games being run, and I needed to see if these people were competent enough, and if they were going to display a strategy strong enough to go at white supremacy in the White House.
So, Muhammad, do you feel like, first of all, I'm going to say, I felt like the Democrats put forth a very strong, powerful, well-played, succinct, organized, united front. I really do. I feel like they were very explicit about what they wanted. They even gave the media tidbits ahead of time of what was coming, and the media commented on that. They said numerous times that the Democrats had laid out, hey, tonight we have this speaker that's going to talk about these things. But they said the Republicans did not do that. They said they didn't know what they were going to get on any given day. And excuse me, I have to admit, like, it was several times that I turned the TV on to watch, and I was like, who is this? I had no clue. They weren't senators. They weren't congressmen. They were just, well, who was the chick in the red dress? I still don't know who she was.
Trump Jr.'s girlfriend.
Are you freaking kidding me?
The chick that said her parents were Puerto Rican immigrants, and she's a first generation American. That's Trump.
Yes.
That's Don Jr.'s girlfriend.
Are you sick? Okay, so this dude got his freaking son's girlfriend speaking for him. Like, what does that say? Like, if that's all I could find is my freaking son's girlfriend, then there's definitely a problem. I'll pay somebody before I do that. Anyway, Muhammad, what did you think about how the Democrats handled themselves in the DNC?
I mean, I think the Democrats, they always do a good job when it comes to that convention. Most of the people in the Democratic Party who go up there, they're well educated. They're very articulate. They're very good articulating the needs of the country. They do a good job of keeping their thing on the pulse of the country. So, you know, everybody was educated, I felt like, and everybody had done their research. But I kind of differ with some of you guys about the substance because the Democrats, I feel like every 4 years, they do a good job of making you feel good, and they say all the right stuff. But then my concern always is
Right.
the follow. A lot of this stuff just doesn't happen, and I think they tend to do. In the back of their head, it's kind of what we saw Joe Biden do when he was on the Breakfast Club. I almost feel like they take our vote for granted because the Republicans are not fighting for our vote. Trump is just horrible. So I just feel like the Democrats, they say all the right stuff. Uh, they're doing what I think they feel they need to do to get people out and come and vote. But again, my concern is I just don't know if there'll be follow through. You know, if Biden wins and we go out to office, will they remember us once he gets in office? So that's my issue. I'm still not convinced that things will still happen for us once they win, beyond the platitudes and the talk they did. But I thought it was a wonderful show. They said all the right stuff. You know, people were articulate and eloquent. I felt real good, but I still know better. Just knowing the history, at least since I've been living and following politics, the follow through tends to be an issue with the Democrats.
So, BJ, with all that being said, the follow through is a problem. So what do?
Truthfully, my taking views on politics, I kind of relate it all to the streets and growing up in the streets because it's all a hustle to me. Politicians put on nice suits and use big words with small meanings. And like my man Mohammed was saying, yeah, it sounds good. We rallying behind him and we want to get Trump out of office and do this. And I feel like what's the lady that's his running mate? They
Kamala
I don't know
Harris?
where she come from. Yeah, but I know she's a prosecutor if I'm not mistaken, and she done locked up so many brothers and former still. I mean, whether you put former on it or whatever past tense you use, she still held that office and job at one time. And they still gonna put that badge on her every time they talk about her, and I mean, for me, all of it is fluff, hype, smoke and mirrors, because, you rallying for the vote and you getting the people to come out and show up. But then after you get this, what you do once you walk off stage and go behind the curtain? That's my problem.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's so much.
Go ahead, finish.
Yeah, I mean, it's so much, injustice going on all sides, black, white, young, old. These cops are getting away with murder, literally. And it's like, I guess I come from an old regime, the way I was raised, and for me is, I feel like, hey, you got to break an egg to make an omelet. So for all this stuff that's going on out here in the streets, I'll say for me personally, we was always taught to pray and this and that and overcome and stand and nonviolence and this and that. I don't feel that way all the time. I want to push back and put up some resistance like the opposite side been doing for years. I mean, I feel like we'd have been brainwashed. We'd have been
bamboozled,
taught to believe this. I mean, right now, if you look at us as a whole, and I ain't gonna say just black people, but if you look at us as a whole minority group, our dollar power is well over $15 trillion a year we spend as consumers. And we ain't benefiting off of none of that. We ain't being taught ownership. We don't even understand how money work. So it's little simple things like that. I feel like if our community don't understand how money work, then when you put them in front of this whole political arena and they start slanging these big words, we lost from the start, and we just sitting there going with the crowd to see who they gonna go for. So, hey, that's who I'm gonna go for.
I believe in the sheep mentality. I definitely believe in that. But Trace, as a black female in this country, how do you feel about some of the things that people are saying about Kamala Harris?
Well, at first it's challenging because as a Black woman, to see a Black woman on the next forefront was already just a really huge moment for me as a Black woman, because I'm young. I'm definitely identify as a millennial. So seeing that new steps of being raised, of just seeing nothing but cis white men constantly rule, the political scheme, or the government, has been a really great, huge turmoil for me, because it's like, this is really great. We have a Black woman that's now about to run for presidency. We had a Black man, our last term, and now we have a Black woman that may or may not mean something, or may stand for something that may be right. So just seeing the aesthetics of it definitely feels really good. What is hard to really deal with is the fact that because she was a former prosecutor and she put away a lot of our brothers in jail and in prison, and didn't give that leg up to either educate them or find another system to help them get themselves out of the situations that they were, it's really it's jaded for me. I feel like I'm stuck between a rock and a hard place, as I did before when Obama was running, because I was stuck between voting for a woman or voting for a Black man.
So I asked this question then, and not to cut you off, but I asked this question then because everything you're saying is right. But here I am playing devil's advocate, right? Taking it from the opposite end. What about the ones that, like, her thing is, as a prosecutor, her whole platform was, when she would stand up, she would say Kamala Harris for the people. Her thing was she was representing the people, right? Not necessarily as a defense attorney, but as a person that is for the common man, for the overall good of the people.
Definitely. I mean, her speech was so super relatable on the fact that she definitely had notes that carried as if it was my auntie that was running for presidency. So I do feel the connection there. I felt like that felt really good, because I've never seen anything like that before in my young years in existence, because of the fact that I'm just so used to cis white hetero men, just like, this is what I'm going to do for you, and you really don't care about the Black folk at all. So it did have a feeling of connection. Maybe we do have to follow blindly, as we've always been doing anyways.
No.
Or
I have some pushbacks.
No. Go ahead, Cliff.
I have some pushbacks.
Okay.
I want to do it in the form of questions first. Okay. So we know obesity is a problem in the Black community, right?
Yep.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if we know obesity is a problem in the Black community, when we go to McDonald's or any type of restaurant that serves any type of food that is not within the healthy construct for our community, do we look at the people who work at that restaurant and say, oh, that person isn't deserving of any type of advancement in life because they help be a part of what is destroying the Black community? Do we do that?
No.
Absolutely. No, we don't.
And we don't do that because that is their job, right? That's their job. At their job, that is not where we're looking for individuals to make a difference. We hope some people do, but that's within that person. But if that's within the confines of their job, that's what you expect them to do. That woman was a prosecutor. She was a DA in California. Over her jurisdiction was Los Angeles, Richmond, Oakland. Those are majority Black cities.
Yes, they are.
I have a couple of facts here. I'm gonna show my little banner. I'm proud of myself.
If we
She was a prosecutor in Oakland. She was elected DA of San Francisco and the first African American female Attorney General of California.
Right.
Go ahead, Cliff.
Meaning all those were under her jurisdiction. If we know that 3 of those are majority Black cities, and we know that across the country, African Americans disproportionately represent the incarcerated population, who was she going to be locking up? Also, as an individual who's worked for the criminal justice system and who advanced in the criminal justice system from a peon where I had no power, I had no voice, no say, and then rising to the head of juvenile justice for the state where I live. When I was in positions where I did not have power, I did not have say, that was who I was and where I was. I had feelings, I had ideas, but those ideas don't get advanced. When I was in a position to make a difference, I made a difference.
Indeed.
There's a difference. That guy who had no power had the same brain, he had the same experiences, he had the same thoughts, but he had no power.
Right.
I say this to say it's what you do when you have the power. As a prosecutor, as a DA, she enforces the laws that other people make. That's her job. As a legislator, which she was as a senator, her policies have been pro-Black and as progressive towards criminal justice reform as anyone in the Senate in the last 25 years.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that's a false narrative that gets put out there. I certainly understand where a person would take that backdrop, but if you dig a little bit farther and you really look at it, you'll see that I think misogyny is at the core of it.
Absolutely.
Can I ask?
And I totally agree with that.
Can I ask a question of the panel, and then just whoever wants to respond, feel free to jump right in. Are Black folks ready for a Black female anything in power? Never mind the rest of the country. Are we as a people, as an African American people in the United States, are we ready to be able to back her? Because what I'm seeing is whenever it happened with Obama too. It happened with Obama too until people jumped on the bandwagon. People tore him down. Now I'm going to be honest. I was not an Obama fan. I love Michelle. That's my girl. That's my auntie. She just don't know it yet. But I love Michelle because I felt like Michelle was real. And I felt like Obama was a politician, which I get it. That's what they do. But I knew that the Democrats did not have full control of the Senate. So how was he going to get anything passed if he doesn't have Congress on his side? I'm going to bring change. How? How is he going to bring change? He is a politician that follows rules, and he doesn't have control of Congress. There's no way he's going to get stuff passed. I'm surprised he got Obamacare through. But that had a bunch of, arms and legs and tree branches and stumps and things added onto it just to make it kind of fit through. So again, I pose to everybody here, don't everybody jump at once. Is this country, are we as a people ready for not only Black, but a Black female? Because God forbid, Lord, please forgive me, but God forbid something happened to Uncle Joe as the president, she would be president. Are we ready for that?
I think the question is she capable and apt to do the job? And absolutely she is. Look at what you have right now.
Absolutely.
We shouldn't even be having this conversation on any level about are we? What Black folks should be is prepared and embracing of whoever is going to forward our plight.
And why can't we do that? I get so frustrated. I can't tell you how many times I've had this conversation in the past few weeks. I'm so sick and tired of our people. We complain about there's nobody for us. The white people hold us down and this and that. So now you have someone like Joe Biden that, again, I think Joe is kind of cool. I think he's a pretty cool cat and he is a real person. He's gone through stuff. He's done stuff and he screwed up on many occasions and he'd be like, oh, damn, that was kind of messed up. You know what I mean? He's like a real person, an actual individual. And now he has a Black female as his running mate to be vice president. And yet we find fault in that too. Are we that twisted? Have we been that polluted? Have we been that brainwashed that we're not able to see the silver lining, especially after having gone through 4 years of this nonsense, which I would add, Trump is not a politician. Trump is a businessman and he's a freaking buffoon.
He's an opportunist.
Right. Yeah, definitely opportunist. Definitely.
Absolutely. But the problem is he doesn't operate within the confines of what should be the law or what should be political boundaries. He
operates on the confines of capitalism. And capitalism has a no rules, Wild West kind of theory thinking, where whatever you can do to gain what you can and keep it moving and kill anyone off that opposes you, that's what it is. So with that being said, and I'm going to add on to that, with that being said, yes, we are ready for a Black woman, especially again as being a younger millennial, it's like we have no hope, because all we are seeing is nothing but white men that are controlling, creating that misogyny, creating that separatism, creating the white supremacy, and continuously pushing forward. There are tons of other countries that already have women as prime ministers, and they are doing just fine, or if not just fine, better. They're doing what they can, right?
Yes.
And even seeing that as us being the U.S., of course, being this we're the number one, but we're the number one of all the worst things. Why can't we now start to think about we need to start being more involved. We need to start being more progressive in our thinking, and it's starting to allow female positions to take role, plain and simple. Because we've been looking at this glass ceiling for far too long to be able to just allow for another horrible white male to just continue on to another term and just destroy what's left of what we have. We're on we could possibly, if this man comes and happens to be gets another term, we could possibly be on our way to another American Revolution
or a civil war.
It won't happen. Neither one of those things will happen. When you talked about the fact that it's capitalism at stake, you're absolutely right. I agree 100%. And of all people in the world who should know and understand the cruelty of capitalism, is Black folks, because that's what brought us from the shores to this place. Now, with that and understanding that, it is very difficult to compare the United States to any other nation in the world, because no other nation in the world was established on capitalism based on the labor system of Black folks. No other country.
Correct.
So that's what makes it hard to draw one-to-one comparisons. You look at the United States and compare it to Germany. It's not the same.
No.
You know, it's not the same. Now, my thing is not whether we're ready for a woman or a Black woman. Are we ready for the right woman? I care about qualifications. Angela Merkel, rock star. She'd be a rock star wherever she was governing. That is her skill set. That's what she has. I wouldn't want a bag of rocks just because it's a woman, right? And I'm also not 100% certain that our problem is old white men. I think old white men are symptoms of the problem. The problem is that we as Black people in America don't understand what political capital is, and we don't exercise.
Come on, break down the political capital,
if
sir.
we understood what political capital is, see, I see Joe Biden different. I see Joe Biden. He's not my uncle. He's not my enemy. Joe is a means to an end. I've got on one hand someone who my Blackness is, they are adversarial to my Blackness. That's on one hand. That's in the White House right now. Then I've got a person that has a sketchy background. He ain't my enemy, but I wouldn't necessarily consider him my friend either. But I have to know and understand between these two people, these two forces at play here, who is likely to forward my agenda. It sure as hell is not going to be the person who my Blackness, they're adverse to my Blackness.
Right.
And I'm not going to get anything from that person. Now, the other person who needs me, I'm going to stretch his ass to the limits. Why I can. And that's understanding and executing political capital. There is no greater time for Black people to exert political capital than right now. Senator Clyburn, Representative Clyburn, he pushed Joe through the South. Joe rode through the South like Sherman in the Civil War. Rode through the South like Sherman. Bernie Sanders, he drive Bernie Sanders up all by himself. You think when they sit down and they talk to Joe, you think Joe don't know and understand, hey, look here, Playboy, the agenda, this is the agenda. And guess who else knows it? Because if you pay attention to his rhetoric, Trump knows it too. That's why he's been running around for the last 2 weeks saying that Joe Biden is just a figurehead for the radical left. Anybody that studied politics a day in their life knows and understands that Joe Biden is as moderate a Democrat as you're gonna find. Hell, when we were in school in the mid '90s, shoot, half of them was trying to say Joe damn near a Republican. Say I'm lying, Juan.
No, you're right.
Say I'm lying.
That's why Obama went with him, so he could draw some of them in. It was all about balance, and Joe's doing the same thing now.
Exactly.
I think with Harris, he's just trying to balance it back out so he can get as many people as he can get.
We will never have a pressure point as great as right now.
He definitely recognized that he put his foot in his mouth in the shade room, because Muhammad brought that up, that the Breakfast Club. Sorry, I said shade room, Breakfast Club, but he definitely recognized that he got a little bit too candid. And I was actually, as I was talking, me and Cliff was talking earlier.
The truth though, that's how it really is though, Raina.
No, but it's true. It's true. But what I'm saying is that he was saying, I was on a Zoom call with him, and they put his feet to the fire, and they basically was like, yo, what did you mean? Like, you just taking our votes for granted? Like what you think that black people just gonna vote for you just because you Democratic? And he legit was like, no, like I shouldn't have said it the way that I did. And then they asked him specifically about policy, like, what are you gonna do for us? Like, what is it that you're planning to do? What are your plans to help us? And he definitely laid out specific plans, specific tasks that he planned to do for the black communities, meaning affordable housing, small business lending, financial literacy. Like, there were so many different, like, he just bullet pointed multiple different. I didn't take notes. I was driving at the time, and I just didn't want to crash. But But I definitely was paying attention, and what he was saying made good sound sense. Now, how much of it is going to actually translate into, actual pieces? It's hard to say. But then that's hard to say with any politician, because really and truly, I feel like they may have the best of intentions, but really, once you get there, you don't get there by yourself. Come on. How many politicians? Bernie Sanders is probably one of the most genuine, sincere politicians they have out there. He really wears his emotions on his sleeve, which is why he will never, ever win the presidency. Not in this country, because they don't want that. This country doesn't want it. This country does not want someone that's going to be as candid and as plain and as straightforward, and they don't want it. They don't want it, and they're not going to take it.
I think the country. Go ahead. I'm sorry, BJ.
No, it's fine. So no, I just wanted to ask. So just say that Trump didn't get in the office and Hillary did, right?
Mm-hmm.
What would our whole discussion tonight be about if it would have went the other way? Because we know what Trump is. He's a clown. He's for himself. He's a businessman. He's another TV president like Ronald Reagan. You know what I'm saying? So,
tensions were not nearly as severe.
No.
Oh, yes, they were. Oh, yes, they were. Oh, yes, they were.
I don't recall the racial tensions being that bad.
Oh, BJ is absolutely right.
Yeah, I think it was worse. I think it was worse.
I don't know. Hey, I don't know how old you are, BJ, but I think BJ is absolutely right. And let me explain something to y'all. Trump is following Reagan's. He's following Reagan's blueprint. You say you don't think he was that direct with his. He announced he announced running his campaign from Philadelphia, Mississippi, the town where those white freedom fighters were murdered, where the white freedom riders were murdered. He knew exactly what he was doing. The welfare queen, which Trump is rolling out tonight, all of that. That's him. That was purposeful. That's him. Yes, he did. The difference is,
do you feel like, that may have been covert or deliberate and underhanded, but Trump is blatant with it.
Oh,
he's blatant.
Yeah, I'll give you that. But I'm telling you, Reagan was no less dangerous than Trump. The difference is Reagan was more intelligent than Trump.
I totally agree. History is definitely cyclical, so it definitely rotates and evolves the same way. It just all now that matters is because of social media and how ratchet you can be no matter whether you're the president or Cardi B or whoever the hell that you want to be. It's already showing a presence of the same notions that were going the same way. The what would you call it? The welfare queen is the same woman as the nasty woman, the angry Black woman of today. It's so cyclical. That's why I really love history a lot, because everything I see that happened back in the 90s when I was definitely a young kid is definitely evolving now. It's the same thing. And the things that happened back in the 90s happened in the 60s with Nixon. Is that correct? Is that correct?
Yeah, Nixon didn't have a long time to do his thing though. Nixon got a little jammed up.
Nixon was the 70s.
Hey, Nixon hit the kitty and rolled out. Nixon got his check and bounce.
I do want to ask this question though,
because of I just want to end up on that one note, is that the scandals, right, are still the same, right? There's still some kind of voter scandal, Watergate scandal. It's all cyclical. That's all I wanted to put out on that.
And just to jump in right quick with Miss Tracy saying that, you know, I mean, I work for the government, you know, and every day, you know, I'm not gonna get old so-and-so's name, no type of power on this broadcast, but just know I work for them. And with that being said, you know, the stuff that I'm hauled off in the meetings about every day when I get to work with these ballots and, you know, moving the mail and how we gonna do this and how we gonna do that. And it's funny because when our new general postmaster took over, you know, his first agenda was to remove all the blue boxes where people mail letters at. That was first. Second of all, you know, it's several machines within this facility they use to process it, that they shut these machines down to slow down the process of moving these ballots and so forth. And, you know, it's already a struggle for, like, I mean, I don't know where everybody else at. I'm in Texas. So I know in Texas, it ain't too many. The only places buses running is downtown Houston in the inner areas. Other than that, you got to have a car to move around out here. So, you know, I remember, matter of fact, if I'm not mistaken, when Obama was running for president, if I'm not mistaken, wasn't it something they talked about? They was trying to suspend the bus service or boycott the bus service so people couldn't even go get on the bus to go vote, if I'm not mistaken.
Yes, and it was.
So I mean,
yes, he's right. No, you're right. You're
so
right,
like Miss Tracy was saying, in a nutshell, it's still the same game. It's still the same politics. You know, the players just change. You know, the words they use change, but you know, the Democrats and the Republican, they both have their set playbooks already. So it's just a matter, in my opinion, of what face we're going to put up there to give them the plays to try to run our playbook for this term and next term and so forth.
So as a federal worker, and that's a great segue because I was really going to get on that point. How do you feel, and what is the process, or anybody on the panel basically? How do you feel about the whole defunding of the USPS? And specifically, Trump said, matter of fact, I got a little something. He said he wants to make the post office great again. He said that this country, mail-in voters would make our country a laughingstock. As if we aren't that already.
Well, that's just his way of that's his way of being a candid asshole, excuse my French. Because like you say, this country is already a laughingstock because, you know, I have friends that stay outside the country. And, you know, case in point, if something ever happened in your city, if you watch the news, like when they talk about the riots, or even for me, being from New Orleans, dealing with hurricanes, when they talk about hurricanes down in New Orleans on the news, They're going to tell you, oh, everything fine, birds chirping, it's peaceful, it's sunny, this is going on, that's going on. I have to go online and watch the news in other states to really hear what's going on, because wherever a disaster, whether it's Mother Nature, Father Time, man-made, or whatever, you know, whenever there's a disaster, wherever that disaster happened, the people that's reporting the disaster is already trained to make it seem like it's not that bad, to keep the control within the keep the control and order within whatever city this disaster is happening in. You know, case in point, I don't know how the police reacted for 9/11 when the towers came down. You know, that there was a big to do, but being boots on the ground around that time in New York, I wasn't there, so I don't know how the news portrayed it to the people that live and thrive from New York and that whole area, Jersey, Philly, and everything, because everybody was affected by that on that whole eastern region. Tensions was high and everything, but I'm more than sure, or I feel like the news, the local news, made it seem like, oh, well, it wasn't that bad. We got it under control. It's no big deal. And that's not true. They're trained to deceive us from a local front, just walking out our own doors, dealing with our own local news.
Mm-hmm. So let me just digress for a second. I want to kind of table that subject, and because time is definitely ticking away, and I knew this was going to be a long one. I knew it was. I already knew because of the content and who I had coming. I was like, oh boy, we're going to try and fit this into hours. So 2 nights ago, for those that don't know, 2 nights ago, there was a shooting, a murder. Well, not a murder, thank God, but it was a shooting. The police shot a young man in front of his 3 children in the back 7 times. The young man's name is Jacob Blake. He is not dead, thank God. He is still in the hospital. His family says that he's fighting constantly, but he is still in very critical care, but he is fighting and he is still alive. However, the narrative was, there was a fight that was there. He went to break up the fight between 2 young ladies. Now the new media is trying to spin it to say that, oh, he was tussling with the cops on the ground or something. I didn't see that. I don't know how they saw that, but I didn't see that. And then the guy got up, walked away from the police officer, was walking to his vehicle to get into his vehicle, and did not have a weapon, did not in any way seem combative, he was not under arrest, and yet the cop grabbed him by the shirt and shot him 7 times in the back. The city of Milwaukee has been going crazy. People have been rioting. People have been setting fires. All of this. He was a black man. Yet another black man. Again, I can't say it enough. Thank God he's not dead. But it's a shame that I have to say that. Thank God he's not dead. And yet, a whole day later, there's a 17-year-old, Kyle Rittenhouse, that has now been charged with first-degree intentional homicide, which I don't know why they didn't just say murder, but okay, whatever. First-degree intentional homicide by driving across state lines with an automatic weapon, an AR-15, and killed 2 innocent protesters. They weren't rioters. They weren't anyone that was causing a problem. Supposedly, he feared for his life. And the narrative is that, let me pull it up because I did have it right here. He said, and I quote, on with the AR-15, he said he was there to resolve the conflict. A 17-year-old was there with an automatic weapon in a crowd full of peaceful protesters.
Semi-automatic.
And let's also put in note that his mother drove knowing that across state lines. He already knew that it was illegal for him to already have the weapon in the state that he was in, then drive across the state line to still have that illegal weapon.
But not only that,
why the mom wasn't charged either.
Not only that, Trace, this genius was walking down the street after having shot and killed 2 people behind him, was walking down the street towards the police officers. The video shows the police officers driving up to him. He put his hands up like this. They was like, move out the way, move out the way. This man has a semi-automatic weapon on his chest, literally dangling from his chest, this young boy. And move out the way, move out the way. He didn't get arrested until the very next day. And yet, the day before, Jacob Blake did not have a weapon, was not in confrontation, had not committed a crime, but yet this man is now fighting for the opportunity, for the chance to even walk again. And it happened in front of his 3 sons. Somebody please say something.
Well, I'm gonna say we overcomplicating this situation. This situation is very simple. At 17 years old, and I may know a little bit about juvenile justice. At 17 years old, he's prohibited from having that type of firearm.
Period.
Point.
Hold. Okay.
Point.
Just first point. If he's prohibited from legally having or possessing that type of firearm, then everything he did from the moment he left his house and he was in possession of that firearm means it was with criminal intent.
Exactly.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly.
So if everything he did after he left his home in possession of that firearm was with criminal intent, then there's no conversation about what happened here. What have we been taught as people of color, particularly the black men on this panel? One of the very first lessons that the criminal justice system will teach you is you didn't have to leave the house with the intent of bad things happening. If bad things happened while you were in the company or in the circumference of people who were committing a crime, what is it that they tell us? We are equally liable for that crime. Right.
I want to share something. I want to share my screen real quick. Hold on.
You got this.
Look at me, Trace. I'm being all. Look at me being all extra. Hold on. Now let me just find which one. Oh Lord. Okay, wait a minute, y'all. Okay, forgive me because I'm about to share this screen, but it's something on here that don't belong. So let me exit out of that.
Well, coming from you, that's coming from you. That ain't even. We ain't worrying about that coming from you. That ain't.
Okay.
You know,
I'm back.
Maybe if you would have had a noose with a white person hanging, then we might have been surprised. But
no, that's just Kate play. That's just Kate play. No, we can talk about that later.
Sorry, I forgot it was coming up on my screen. Okay, so this is called Give, Send, Go. This is literally a GoFundMe site. Can you guys see it? For his account. They have raised. Hold on, let me go to the top. Over $42,000
with the police with the Blue Lives Matter flag. Wow,
isn't that something? Because guess what? He was a police cadet.
Wow,
he was working to become a police officer.
Wannabe cop. He does not have the mental aptitude to make qualification of any real police jurisdiction. I can tell you that right now.
Listen to some of this. I may not have the whole story, but from what I've seen, he earned my support to a hopefully fair trial on the grounds of self-defense. What?
Isn't that, what do you call that?
Stand your ground.
What is
stand your ground?
What state did this happen in?
Wisconsin.
Wisconsin.
But here's the thing, Juan. Okay. Even if Wisconsin is a stand your ground state, you don't stand your ground in the commission of a felony. When he left his house with that firearm, he was in the commission of a felony.
Yep.
You don't get that protection. You don't get self-defense when you are in actively engaging in a criminal act.
This says, young man, the
But
days
we've
will
seen
come
it.
and you will
We've
wonder
seen
if
it
you did the
before,
right thing. Pay
in
no
these
attention to
shows.
the media, social or otherwise. Defending yourself is the right thing to do. What? Don't let demons
Well, but
want to
We've seen this
destroy us
before.
win. Who
We've
are
seen
these
this
demons?
before. We've seen this before.
right,
We've seen this
exactly.
before. Because the stand your ground rule is funny to me, just off the aspect of, if we go back to Trayvon Martin, George Zimmerman. I didn't understand, and I never got, if they said Zimmerman could stand his ground, well, could Trayvon stand his? Because don't both of them are susceptible to the same rules and regulations?
Except
So
Trayvon Martin
and weren't they also on public ground too?
I never got the lines. Where are the lines where you say stand your ground? And that's why with this situation, who knows what's going to come out?
That's a great question. That's a great question, Juan, because stand your ground on the property confines of your home, where you have legality to stand your ground and protect your home, or does it mean stand your ground when you are literally in public and having these kind of confrontations?
Or does it mean stand your ground when your skin is pale enough and your hair is straight?
So
yeah, I mean, I was just about to say it because I'm blunt like that, and I care and then I don't care. It just depends on how I wake up some days. But this is the prime example. We're in the height, and I want to say this, but I don't want to give this no type of energy to even be considered a movement. But we're standing in the prime ground of, if I had to call it a movement, this would be for white people. This would be the "if you white, you right" movement right now. And I mean, everybody's showing their true colors with Trump in office. I was watching some video where this white guy and this white girl jumped on this black cashier at a fast food restaurant. And I mean, they proud to be able to take that hoodie off and smile when they do stuff. Because, like I said, I'm from New Orleans, so I've seen the Klan growing up my whole life, driving this truck that I drive. I've been in several cities. I've been in cities where I don't watch them hang up the sign saying Klan rally tonight, 7:30, don't be late, so forth and so on. So, right now, all of the racists just have a legal pass right now to pull a hood off and walk outside and finally look at their neighbor and tell their neighbor, hey, I never really like you, but this is who I am. But as far as us as black people, they still sabotaged us because they never went back and changed the law saying that we still consider 3/4 of a human. And I think that was left on the book on purpose. That's kind of always a weight they're going to try to put on our leg, and that's just my opinion.
Okay, because go ahead, Tracy.
I like to thank you. I like to put in two notes. The first note was definitely, first of all, we need to understand as a Black community what elitism is, and understanding that the fact that elitism really is the person that has the most education or has the most knowledge and information about anything that's going on has more power, right? The other thing is that with that power, with that education, whether you are a white person or not, and even if you do not have the most education as any common person, right? You could probably have just graduated, 4th grade, or maybe not even graduated high school. These knowledges or these things that we are learning today are the fact that if this person is going to go and cross state lines and literally know that it's already illegal, and the mother knows of the fact that it is illegal to do this, let alone my son should not have this gun unless he's doing target practice. And because guarantee you, if I had a kid, I would definitely have them learn and know how to properly handle a weapon, because it is our right.
Let me just interject this really quickly. I have this note. Kyle Rittenhouse was a 17-year-old, traveled across state lines illegally with a weapon and killed 2 people and injured another. Tamar Rice was a 12-year-old little boy playing in his backyard with a toy gun and was killed in 12 seconds.
In the park. Yep. He was in his park. It wasn't his backyard. He's in the park.
Why do I keep saying a backyard? I thought it was a backyard. Okay. But a toy gun.
It's a BB gun.
It's still a toy.
Mm-hmm. The difference. The difference is, right. Unless it's one of those guns that had an orange barrel.
Right.
One of the differences is that someone rolling up on you doesn't know that. The issue that I have with the Tamir Rice situation is this: Ohio is an open carry state, so whether he was playing with a toy gun or a real gun, in an open carry state, your first move is not to go aggressive with your weapon because he could be perfectly legal. That's in an open carry state. And to kill him within, and you said 12 seconds. I believe it was 7. I believe it was 7 seconds within the time. It might have been 12 when the cars got there, but within the time they left their cars and the time that his body hit the ground was 7 seconds. That's not enough time to say freeze, ask a question, do nothing. They got out shooting. And in an open carry state, you just cannot, because you didn't know he was 12. You didn't know, and I mean, now us, right, coming from our community, we know and understand that our little black boys are criminalized and they're seen as adults when they are in 2nd grade. We know and understand that.
They're inherently evil.
Mm-hmm.
Right. We understand that, but the fact remains, under the law, that's an open carry state. You can't have those assumptions. Your assumption must be that this may be a legally carrying person, and you would never roll up on a legally carrying person, guns blazing within 7 seconds of contact.
Exactly.
That's my issue with Tamir Rice. And meanwhile, your boy Rittenhouse kills 2 people, walks past the police with the gun on him.
I mean, literally, they told him, move out the way. Move out the way. Move out the way. Get off to the side. Move out the way. Dude, do you not see this?
While other folks are yelling, he was the one.
Yes,
he was the one. Don't push him out. He is the one.
Right. That part right there, Tracy. That part right there.
I can't understand. I mean, as a mother, and this is another reason why I wanted to get you guys on here, because each and every one of you hold a special place in my heart. Aside from my family, my spouse, my son, my brothers, you guys are like special to me. So I was like, I need to get some brothers on the show that can give something, shed some light. And I didn't even get to half of my points that I had on here, and we're already at almost an hour. We're
gonna need a part 2. We're gonna need a part 2.
Absolutely.
We need a part 2.
We're gonna need a part 2.
Yes, we do.
Well, I really, I feel like you guys are so inspirational, but I feel like also I didn't even get to the part of the NBA walkout. Like, I didn't even get to that part. I had some good points on that too. Couldn't even get.
Can we get like 15 more minutes?
I mean, we can, but I know.
15 more minutes.
Listen, it's okay with me, but I do know that there's some that are at a strict bedtime because they are, disciplined. And no, you laughing, but I'm serious because they are disciplined.
I'm not mad at it.
Big ups on this though, boo, for real. I'm giving you big ups because you are inspiring me right now. Listen, Cliff said, listen, I'm up at 4 a.m. and brother is up and exercising and getting his sexy back. And not to say that, all right. Getting his sexy back and works 40 minutes away, drives to work, works all day, multiple jobs, and then drives home and then has to care for house and all that. So I am sensitive to that. I am not trying to abuse my people's time.
Yeah, I got a part 2. You got a commitment for a part 2 anytime.
Yeah.
Just let me
there
know.
You go. Hey, I love it. Thank you so much, baby. But so Listen, if you got to drop off, I understand. I very much, let me just say before you do, I appreciate all of your, and this, I mean, Juan, come on. Did this bring back memories?
Right.
I haven't seen Juan in this capacity since probably somewhere around 1998.
Yeah.
Don't do that. Why you gotta date us now, Cliff? Come on, man.
What you ashamed
Right.
of? What you ashamed of? Black is
Come
beautiful.
on, man.
Black
Right.
is beautiful.
Listen, we three at the top, we went to school together. We were in the same major. It was the bomb. And me and Cliff used to go at it all the time, debating, political debates.
Y'all know who won, right?
What? You better go ahead. Go ahead with the nonsense.
It was
Go ahead,
Rena.
Cliff.
It was Rena because she had a big mouth. It was Rena
ahead.
because she had a big mouth.
Go ahead,
I
Cliff.
vouch for that one. I vouch for that one.
Silence,
Yes.
DJ.
Yes, Rena's a Cancer, just like my sister. I can't win any conversation, no matter how dead wrong she is. I'm
I'm a
like, this is
Sag.
fine.
I'm a
Oh,
Sag.
that's right. That's right.
I'm a
Oh,
Sag girl. Proud
my
of
best friend is a Sag too. No matter how dead wrong they are.
All right, Cliff, you know I love you, baby. We're gonna do a part 2. We
It's
are
great
gonna
to
do
meet
part
you,
2.
I appreciate all of y'all. I
Because we
appreciate
still
you.
haven't
you.
talked about this Queon.
My king, it's been a pleasure, man.
No
All right,
doubt.
bro.
I can't wait for part
Juan,
2.
it was
y'all.
great to meet you. BJ, it's great to meet you.
We haven't talked about the QAnon. We haven't talked about the NBA stuff. We haven't talked about. We didn't even get into the GOP stuff really, and we didn't get into some of the nuances of your president's setup and everything. The things that he's done since this whole something or other had gone down. So I definitely want to touch in on some of those points. And unfortunately, I guess Muhammad had to drop off, and I'll see about getting him back for part 2 as well. But if we had to if we had to close it out on a high note, I can definitely say that each and every one of you have shown and reflected in positive ways, and I'm grateful. Juan, you moving down to the South, that scared the heck out of me. I'm not gonna lie. People be like, "Oh, I'm going to Atlanta." I was like, "Nah, man, I got you. That's good. I'm good.
I keep telling you though, hey, listen, I was listening to a group of whites. They was talking about racism, and they basically laid it out and said racism is the same in the North and the South. It's just in the North, it's more covert. And it was like they still skinning people up there like they doing down here. I mean, the one thing I will say about down here or down south that I've recognized is that if they don't get down with you, they let you know early. Like you're gonna know early. They're not gonna speak, they're not gonna look you in the eye, they're gonna keep walking, go about their business.
I don't like you, son.
I kind of feel different about that one, but I see it.
I haven't experienced the whole in your face being called out your name or nothing like that. I have it in this area. Somebody that's from a different area down here, they might have something different to show. But I can say my experience down here, it seems that like I said, if they don't deal with you, they don't deal with you.
Well, and I'm gonna say this because I gotta jump off, and it's pleasure. I can't wait for part 2 with you right. Lovely people. But I'll say this before I jump off. Me and CandyGurl debate that all the time because it's like me being from the South, born and raised here, and me living in the Carolinas and on the East Coast somewhat. It's like I can deal with East Coast better. I can deal with East Coast people better than Southern people because I feel like East Coast, they tell you they don't like you. In the South, they're going to roll with you. They're going to kick it with you. They're going to bait you in and then shoot the shit out you after y'all done hung all day.
Nah.
Yeah, in my opinion.
No,
but I come from a different world.
I'm not with that. Like my whole thing is the fact that what really burns me up, like I was watching the sports whatever with Shaq, Charles Barkley, Kenny Smith, and the white guy. And so Charles Barkley's like, let me ask you a question. to the white guy. Don't forgive me. I don't know his name, y'all. Forgive me. Don't know his name. But she said, let me ask you a question. He said, do you have to have a talk with your sons about how to interact with the police? And he said, no. He's like, exactly. So you don't know what it feel like.
Mm-hmm.
He was like, I don't. He was like, because he was like, I admit I don't have to have that talk. He was like, because with y'all, it's just like having the birds and the bees. You have to have a talk with your sons and your daughters, for all accounts, about how to behave and how to interact in front of law enforcement. Because all you need is one trigger happy cop, and who knows what it's going to end up being.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
But what happens if and when social resurgence, when people start to revolt, when people start to bounce back, when people start to push back, what happens then? Because you can't back people in the corner but so much until they start coming out swinging and popping and doing whatever.
Mm-hmm. Well, that's when the civil revolution happened. I don't know.
Well, we're seeing that with protesting that's going on.
You do.
The thing
yeah.
is, they're downplaying it, but it's happening in most states.
Yeah.
In the states where there are no killings, like look at everything that went down in Washington, and we looking at that situation like nothing happened in Washington as far as anybody getting killed, but they had took over an area of the city and basically was keeping the government and the police out for a time.
For a time, but what that makes that
they shut it down.
That correct, but that which reminds me, because it brings up the Osage and the movement, right? Back in that was back in the 90s, where in Philadelphia there was a group that occupied a huge block of North Philadelphia, and it was the Osage Avenue.
Really?
And the only
I remember.
CandyGurl, you know this. Thank you.
I sure don't. I'm not from Philly. I'm from New York.
Fair enough.
I remember
but that's still a huge moment back then, where, and my grandfather would talk about it all the time. My dad would talk about it all the time, and then I was just so like I was so amazed by it, because I was like, we took over a block. I was like, how did we do that without having government take in? And then at the end of the day, they bombed the entire block.
Black Wall Street.
They bombed it. So to say that, what makes it, here's the thing that really bothers me that makes it different, is that when Black folk take over a block, it's bombed. But the Antifa that took over the block in Washington were predominantly white.
Right.
And what they did was systematically break it down. They didn't go and just like, oh, we're just going to bomb it because this is completely terrorist, even though Trump said that these are terrorist people and they should be rectified. They took the certain precautions because they knew that there was a majority amount of white people that were taking over this space. They didn't have a block. They had one house, and it was a couple of houses in West Philadelphia. It was at least 3 houses in West Philadelphia.
Nicole said it was a block. It wasn't a block. It was a house.
Right. It wasn't a block, but it was definitely at least 3. Thank you, Nicole. It was definitely at least 3 houses in West Philadelphia. But still, just seeing the difference between how society is approaching white society, whether they are radical or not, whether they are terrorists or not, we're seeing that huge different kind of change. And it's ridiculous. Oh, Mom is back home, eating chips, ready to go.
You got the boots.
Ready to go.
Oh my God, I love you, Trace. That is
no team behind. He just like dipped out, came back, chips, seated, comfy, beanie. Let's go. I love it.
Indeed,
I love it.
Indeed. So, Trace, everything that you're saying, I'm with you on it. I just can't understand. I mean, I feel like everything that we are dealing with as a people, right? No matter where our origin, whether we're Caribbean, whether we're African, whether we're Native American, whether we're African American. When I say Native American, I mean American born here. I feel like if we could find it in our beings to come together as a people, no matter what, for a united reason, for one common goal, the possibilities are endless.
So true.
Muhammad, what you eat? As he chewing. But I'm just saying, I feel like there's one thing that you can say about those that are clear skin, white, European descent, is that they can come together regardless of differences. They can come together for a common goal because they have a common enemy, which is the brown skinned people. So they can come together. They can pull themselves together. They can pull themselves together. They can organize and rally behind ones, even if they don't believe in them. They can rally behind a leader and say, yes, we're going to back you because we're against this common enemy. But we somehow falter when it comes to that.
I think it's in our DNA. Black people are just tribal. Whether you look here or you look in Africa, we're tribal. What if you're Christian? Mm-hmm. Are you an apostolic Christian? Are you a Catholic? We tend to really, we're very sectarian, I think. And I think even when whites came to Africa, the whole concept of race was something that was foreign to us. And I still feel like even to this day, it's not something that we can even grasp and pull together for common goals because we're too busy arguing with each other. And you're absolutely right. Like white people going all the way back to the Berlin Conference, right? They sat down and said, let's stop fighting each other. Let's divide Africa. Let's make our rules and let's work together. And I just haven't seen that happen with Black people yet. So it would be nice if we could do that with other non-Blacks, but I think Blacks have an issue coming together. I mean, the only time I really felt like we did come together enough to get something done was like the Civil Rights Movement.
Right.
I definitely agree with that.
I feel like the mentality has been so polluted in our young people. Like, so think about it, the Civil Rights Movement and that whole era, right? Mm-hmm. Those people are like our parents or grandparents, right? Grandparents for some of us. And if that's the case, then that means that they're really not in an age where they feel like kicking it up again, right? They feel like, hey, listen, your ass can vote. You can sit at a lunch counter and get served. You can go to school and wherever you want. I did my part. It's your turn now. But I feel like this current generation doesn't have it in them. They're so polluted and they're so inundated with frivolous things. I mean, frivolous things that are meaningless, that they won't take a stand.
But you know what, Ren? I'm sorry. Go ahead. Tracy.
Okay, so I wanted to definitely agree with Muhammad, definitely agree with you on that because of the fact that there has been so much of us battling each other. It has been the foundation of colorism that has been created since the time of slavery, when the lighter skinned Black person was allowed to be in the house and separated us from the folks that were literally working in the field, right? So the colorism began from that and has literally evolved till now. Now we are, as Black people, seeing that there is an issue of colorism. Right. The thing is that only some of us can really identify the history of it. Not all of us are really starting to acknowledge the fact that they're like, what do you mean there's colorism? I just thought that I can joke about my light bright brother and everything could be okay about that. No, that's not really how that works. So for folks that are either white or white passing are able to really have a leg up or a little bit more of a privileged situation for them, which then allows the separation between us brown skinned folk that's like this, like all four of us here, that are able to then see that, hey, why is this fight happening? Why is this battle happening? Why are we seeing this happen when we all should have came together in the first place, no matter what, during slavery, not after?
Is it, you know what? I think me and Juan has had this conversation before, and you can attest to this, bro, because your Juan is well traveled. Y'all don't know this man's been through like 15 passports. Like for real, Juan has traveled the world about 4, 5 times. Juan is
been to Argentina. I'm for real.
Like for real, Juan has traveled the world like multiple times. Like for real, he's like covert ops. Like, you know, you got to have special passes and, you know, tattoos and all kinds of shots and you know, special passcodes just to be able to get where Juan has been. So bro, as we have talked before, my thing is, do we even want to put our energy into this country? Would it even matter? Does it even matter?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, we were born here.
Yeah, but honestly,
yeah, we got a stake here. I mean, we gotta sink our teeth in. I mean, honestly, my opinion, our issue as a people is it boils down to one thing: we do not know how to market our genius well. That's it.
Okay,
we're the most creative people in these United States of America, but we do not know how to market our artistry. We have to turn to them to do it. And that's really what's been plaguing us all this time. Our business acumen is low. And like you can see it in the state of hip hop. And then from hip hop, you can go back to any music form, because we are the fathers of all music in these United States outside of classical. But anything else is ours. Birthed it. But in the billions and millions of trillions of dollars that come out of music, we don't get our fair share of it because we don't market ourselves the way that we're supposed to. And even if you go back to all the inventions that we had, let's take it simple back to the light bulb. Like Edison Company, which is now General Electric, the filament was created by a black man. I can't think of his name right now, but real simple, like GE marketed that thing. They took it, bought his copyright, and they marketed it, and then they turned it into what it is now. It's just like little things like that. We don't market our artistry well, and that's plagued us from one end to the other. And then on the economic side, I believe is the racism plays that part when we look at areas like Black Wall Street and what could have came out of that if it would have still been allowed to function up until now.
Why can't we? Here's the thing, right? So here's my idea. Why can't we recreate that hear me out, between Tyler Perry, Oprah Winfrey, Jay-Z, Master P, Beyonce, well, Michael Jackson dead, but you know what I mean? We have people that have the money and they have the status,
right?
That's the know-how.
But for something like that to get off the ground, it has to be part of the culture. No one individual, like any of those people that you name, can sit and orchestrate all of us because we don't play that well together.
Well, that's right. And I'm sorry, we're not going to vote.
It has to be.
We're not going to vote for Kanye West for president. Let's also put that into mind.
Ain't nobody
right?
Nobody.
We're not going to also put Kanye West into presidency role, right?
No,
because even though he has that money, right? He has that
but I'm
money.
just saying it's not for those one individual people to do it. We all individually got to make the difference in our households with our kids.
No, but I'm saying
absolutely.
I'm saying
us coming together
and come together. Like if we got Oprah, Tyler Perry, Jay-Z, Master P, Beyonce, who else? Affluent Black people, Diddy. If we got all of them to come together and say, "Hey, y'all, we're going to organize and create our own." They could start with banks. They could start with buildings. They could start. I don't care, but why can't that happen?
But we got black banks. We got black banks.
We don't have black banks in every state. We don't.
Not in every state. It's not in every state, but we do have them.
Not.
So then we gotta start saying, and where we do have this, why are we not supporting?
Very good point, Nicole.
I like, Nicole put it in. Each of them has demonstrated
they're more interested in
it's capitalism. Because it's capitalism.
Why are you laughing, Muhammad?
Because capitalism.
I would say, though, I think part of the problem is that we don't have Black Wall Streets. It isn't just because they were destroyed, because some of these communities were destroyed. You know, like Central Park. I can't even think of the name of the community. It was on the tip of my tongue. I was just over there. But we had a thriving community in Central Park that was
basically dismantled to build Central Park. We had thriving communities in a lot of areas that was dismantled. But I also think we dismantled our own communities because of integration. I think the symbol of success for Black people was being accepted by white people. So once you could go to a white company, that was better than owning your own your own Black company. Once you go to a Black university, you abandon the Black colleges that gave you two educations. One, they gave you an education which prepared you to be good at your profession, but then they also prepared you to be a Black professional in a white society.
Let me ask this question.
So I feel like a lot of that stuff was abandoned by us once we integrated. And that was something that Dr. King even noticed when he had the Poor People's Campaign, because he was saying that the main Blacks who had helped with integration were middle class and upper middle class Blacks who were going to do well either way. That's why he died during the Poor People's Campaign. So I think a lot of these communities don't exist. Rena, to your point, it's because even if Oprah and Beyonce did what Black people follow them, do they really want to buy Black, right? Because the stuff, and then even the stuff that Black people say kind of pisses me off when they say, "Oh, I'm done with Black businesses."
I hate that.
I know
Black-owned business. I hate that.
They have issues, but white-owned businesses do a lot of stuff too. But Black people say, "I'm done with this white-owned company," or "Let's boycott this company."
Ever.
You know? So I think a lot of it is the mindset. And then I don't think it's all just Black people, because once we went into Black Power, they really dismantled Black Power movements. So anytime we start talking about ownership, there are certain elements in our government that stop that. But I think the big thing stopping us is our mindsets. A lot of us feel like if we could be the only Black one at a white business, or we could be the only one in a white community, we made it. It's superior.
Thank you, Nicole.
Meanwhile,
Nicole is on it tonight.
Nicole, can I friend you? Because I need to learn a lot. I want to talk with you. I want to get to know you.
Meanwhile, while we feel like serving ourselves and our own communities are beneath us, we have other minority groups coming in making killings off us.
Killings.
Okay with
grocery stores, food, 7-Eleven, making a killing.
Beauty supply.
Right, beauty supply, $1 billion industry. But we're too good for it. We'd rather go make $80,000 working for somebody else and crying that they don't treat us right, when there's like $1.3 trillion going through our communities every year from us.
Sad. It's sad. Where me, on the other hand, as a small business, as a female-owned, minority, Black business, whatever you want to call it, I pride myself on, I will go out of my way to shop small. I will go out of my way to buy Black. I will go out of my way to make sure that I'm supporting people that are like me, because I know what that feels like. But I grew up with it. I grew up wanting to shop in boutiques. I grew up not wanting to go to a mall. I'd rather go to a boutique because I didn't like wearing what everybody else had. So when I did get a couple of coins to go buy something, I didn't want to buy something I was going to see pass me the lunch line about 4 or 5 times.
Right. I also would like to make note, though, it's true though. There are also in certain areas where Black folk like me, like we want to buy Black. I live in Philadelphia. I'm trying to buy Black. Stay focused on Black, but we are so limited because either white supremacy has literally limited us to a red zone, which doesn't really give us the value or give us the funding that we need to really create. So it makes it really, really difficult. We're still surrounded by our 7-Elevens. We're still surrounded by our hair stores that are definitely still POC, people of color owned.
Right.
In one strength, I'm like, okay, I'm still slightly supporting the POC, but it's hard to really find the Black owned salon that owns all the hair, and the prices are going to be way more higher. Cost
Let me tell you about that. As a business, I'm telling you about that. What ends up happening is, we as individuals, we pursue what makes us feel good, versus what is practical, right?
Absolutely.
So you see a lot of brown people Indian, Spanish, whatever, Chinese, whatever, they pursue what they know is lucrative versus what they are pleased or happy or comfortable with. They will pursue a degree in technology. They will pursue a degree in business, whatever it is, because they know it's necessity. So they know they will make the funds. When they make the funds, they support each other. Regardless, you see whole silos, whole communities of NRIs, non-resident Indians, in one area that they will move into that area, and then they'll tell their people where they are and how to get themselves there, and they will support each other. I'm jealous. I would love to have that.
Yeah, honestly, it's because of literally slavery for the past 400 years that also has created colorism that has separated us for those 400 years. We haven't really created that system that we really needed to have. So it doesn't mean that we can't have that now and start creating that going forward. But yeah, that's
I love you. Why can't we all just get along?
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
I hate that one.
I'm just listen, I love you all. I love you guys. Thank you so much for coming on. We have been on here for a while. We're going to go ahead and cut it shorter. I appreciate y'all, but yes, we will have to do a part 2. Right. And I'm grateful. I'm grateful for each and every one of you, because each and every one of us are showing our listeners, showing our supporters that you don't have to settle.
No.
Right? We don't have to settle. Like I said, Muhammad got about 15 degrees, right? And he pursuing the last one. He said, this is the last one. One is well-traveled, educated, a proud father, and dapper, and I mean, handsome and well-mannered, and all the, if he wasn't my brother, I might have a crush. You know what I'm saying? and Trace is amazing in the industry, created her own path, is open and intelligent and educated, and why can't we feed our own people?
We're on our way. Let's start doing that. Let's start breaking down the thought process.
We have to. We can't keep making excuses. No more excuses. What are we going to do? And that's what I say to each and every one of you that are listening to me. What are you going to do? What are you going to do to change the narrative? What are you going to do to better your situation? What are you going to do to better our living arrangement, our political environment, our socioeconomic class? What are you going to do to better your economy? What are you going to do to better your neighborhood? Because we all have to do something. I don't want to sound preachy, but I promise you I'm passionate about what I believe in. And I believe in each and every one of you. I really do. I have a serious, deep-rooted, deep-seated love and passion for each and every one of our melanated brothers and sisters. And I don't want to see us falter. And I definitely don't want to see us fall for the okie doke. Don't just accept just anything. Give yourself more. You deserve more. You deserve more. We got to do better. We got to start, even if it's just one person at a time, one activity at a time, one choice at a time, one selection at a time. Just make a conscious effort to do better. We got to do better. It's all good. It's all good. So thank you both. Thank you all that's left. Thank you for sticking in with me, hanging in. Muhammad, love you. Mwah! Chase, love you. Mwah! Mwah! My girl.
Love you.
She's leaving me, but she's going on to better things.
I'm still going to be with you. I'm still going to ride. I'm still riding. You know I'm riding.
We're going to be in a new studio, so we're going to be in a new studio together. I love you. I'm so glad that we were able to connect, and I'm so grateful for you and all your love and all your warmth and all your intellect. I'm just so grateful for you. Guys, have a wonderful night. Live on purpose, love on purpose. Thank you for listening. This has been the Indulgence Hour. This is the CandyGurl Effect. I am your brown skin Candy Girl. Be sure to like and subscribe to my channel, the CandyGurl Effect. on YouTube. Thank you guys so much. I love you guys. Thank you. Ta-ta and good night. Live on purpose, love on purpose, guys.